Hello. Um, I am about to do a review for Our Kind of People, Season 1, Episode 8, SisterVention. Okay, so guys, you know Teddy had the heart attack and everything, and he was in the hospital. Well, the episode started off, he's back at home, sitting at the table. It's his birthday, and so everyone is catering. The staff is catering, and fixing preparing his. If you're not from Texas, you might not know fixing. So preparing his favorite meals or drinks or whatever, and he's reading the business paper. And so Alex had she had put an article in the paper. She's still stabbing and stabbing and stabbing. She's still upset at the fact that Raymond had to, Raymond's mom and dad, Raymond's mom, Leah's dad, paid her to leave town. And, her and Raymond, ended their little 8-month, 12-month marriage or whatever. So she's bitter and she's, hurt or whatever. So she's trying to get back at Leah. And I would say Raymond too, because I feel like all of this is Raymond's fault. I feel like all of this should be placed in his lap, because had he not went out and asked her for her services, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be happening. Wouldn't be reported or anything. So Teddy tells Leah, hey, I'm going to need you to step up and run, Franklin Industries, while he's recovering or whatever. He says he's getting stronger every day, but, in the meantime, he needs her to step up. And, he encouraged her. He told her she can do it. And so, she's going to be running Franklin Industries until he can step back into the role, fully functioning. Okay. So, then we see, Tariq and Angie in bed. And so, Black Love is just wonderful. So we see them in bed or whatever. And, they're just talking. She's trying to see if he's okay. You know what I'm saying? She's trying to be a concerned girlfriend. She's trying to say, hey, do you need to talk about it? Because he's feeling a certain type of way about the fact that his dad committed suicide. And he was like, well, hey, if that's what happened, there's nothing I can do about it or whatever. So he's hurt by it, and he was like, there's nothing, I can't change it or anything, it's not like the man can give me any answers or anything like that. So basically he is bothered. He's very bothered by the fact that his father supposedly committed suicide. Okay, so Raymond goes and talks to Jack, and he's won his signature because, I don't know, it was just something about Jack in the first place. He's trying to get him to sign off on the papers, sign his shares off, so that Raymond can get Dorman back. So, okay, well, that didn't happen. Jack is full of it, and so, okay, so we're moving on. So then, I want to say, okay, so Nate comes over and he's asking, first, okay, so Angie goes to Franklin Industries and she hands Leah, her business, how the business is going, blah, 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 her stuff. And so Leah was looking all distressed. And so Angie sit down. She was like, because she was being a little short. And so she was like, what's going on? And she was like, oh, I know this face or whatever. What's going on? So, she was like, she said, let's have a sister's day. A SisterVention, a sister's day or something like that. So they goes to the, They go to like a country club or whatever. So they're sitting talking, and Angie tells Leah that she thinks Tariq is trying to block out, take out all his stress and frustrations out. He don't want to talk about it, but he wants to, just have sex all the time. He wants to just keep having sex and drown his issues in sex. And so Leah was like, I think that's what, that's where Raymond and I were. Like, the sex was always great, but, we stopped talking a long time ago. And so she gets up because Leah was like, I don't do sister day or sister something. She said, she was like, well, okay, well, I tell you what, I will ask you something and you drink, you ask me something and you drink or whatever, so anywho, so Angie gets up to go get her a second drink. Leah was like, well, they will come around, but she had already left. So here comes Jack. And so he's talking to Leah, and he gives Leah his room card to the hotel that he's staying at. So Leah eased it right on in her purse, and he leave. I was wondering, I was like, did Angie see it? But she didn't, because they didn't have her say anything about it. Okay, so Nate comes over to the house, and so Nikki was there, and he asked Nikki, could she take him shopping, and help him pick out some clothes or whatever, because he's been gone so long, he don't know the style or anything like that. So she goes and take him shopping. Well, when they were coming out, guys, okay, the cops pull up and Nate freaked out. He freaked out, and he was like, call your dad's lawyer, and he gave her the number 555 whatever. And she was like, what? What's going on? And he froze. He saw the police officers and he froze. And Nick was like, what, Nate? What's going on? What, Nate? Talk to me, Nate. And so by him panicking and freezing, it made her feel like she was helpless, like she didn't know. And then the cops actually ran past him. Well, at this point, Nikki is, she frazzled at the fact that she felt like he was in this state, and I did not have any means to help him. So she's feeling some type of way. Plus, she's 17. So, right? So, she walked up. So she didn't know what to say. She didn't know what to do. Anyway, so... Okay, so Quincy goes home, and I think her name was Simone. She's like the head staff granddaughter, and she was like, "Hey, she was like, hey, and I see you or whatever, and I guess maybe because they've always flirted or whatever." And she was like, "Oh, I thought you would have been in basketball camp or whatever." And he was like, "No, I've been at the office, I'm being groomed to take over." And so she was like, "Oh, okay, so I thought you was gonna do your own thing." And so he was like, "No, I'm taking over, I'm being groomed to take over after my father or whatever." And so she was like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess I'll see you around, if you can get away." And I guess that made him think about it, like, am I doing what I want to do, or am I doing what you want me to do? So, anyway, I'll get back to him. So anyway, so they were having this birthday party. It was like a 20s birthday theme party, and they had to learn how to do these dances. So Leah danced with him, Angie danced with him, Lauren and Nikki danced with him. Okay, so when they got to the place, cause what's his name? Raymond was, Leah had put him out. Like, he had to go. When all that stuff bubbled over, Leah told him to get out, and she meant it, right? So he was still out this episode. So he did try to talk to her, and she said when she's ready, they'll talk or whatever, right? So, he said he's back. He came back, and he wanted to talk or whatever. So, when they came down, when they came to the place, right, they were all dressed up in the 20s. They all look really nice or whatever. So to get Teddy to the place where everybody was to surprise him, Quincy popped up and said, hey, the reporters are here and they want a story and they refusing to leave. So he comes. So Teddy comes and they like, surprise, you know. And so he goes in, they dance with all of them and they have a really great time. But before this happened, well, no, after this happened, no, I'm sorry, after it happened, okay, Angie and Nikki had came, they was walking in, and so Nate was standing over there looking all nice, looking very nice, and so he was about to come to greet Nikki, but she saw him and went the opposite way because she's still feeling some type of way. Okay, so Tariq walks over and like him and Angie start talking or whatever, and so she was, you know, she just asked, "Are you all right? You know, I want to talk. I don't want to talk now, but we'll talk later." And he just flew off the handle. First of all, he was drinking, and he flew off the handle like, "I just want to enjoy myself," you know. And he was like, "Hey, lift your glasses up. Everybody lift your glasses up for, you know, for wish Ted a happy birthday, whatever." And so Nate standing back there looking, you know, at him create this scene with Angie. Okay, so he walk off. So Angie goes to get her a drink. And Nate comes up and he asked her, like, did Nikki tell you what happened? And so he goes in and, you know, and he starts telling her, hey, you know, he freaked out or whatever. And so she goes home and she goes to talk to him. And so she was saying, you know, all my mom showed me was, you know, this strong woman. You know, maybe if she was showing me a softer side, you know, things would be a little better for me. And I've shown you what was shown to me, and I should have been showing you a more vulnerable side too. It's okay to fall apart, you know. And Nika was like, you're so strong, and I didn't know what to do, and, you know, and she was like, you don't have to know what to do. You're a kid. You need to be a kid. You need to remain a kid, you know. You don't have to step into the shoes of a grown person. It's okay to fall apart. You know, we all do. It's okay to not know, to not have the answers. It's okay to not know. It's okay to be, you know, vulnerable, open. It's okay. So Leah had, so then she was like, well, you know, so she said, okay, I feel like, at that point, she knew what she needed to do. She needed Nate and she needed Nate and Nikki to really, really bond. And the only way she felt like they could really, really bond is if Nate moved into the home with them. Okay, so so Leah is sitting in the car, and another car pull up, and the door open, and Angie get in the car. And so, you know, Leah had been crying, and, you know, she showed her this card, and she said I could go in and, you know, betray my marriage and, you know, just say forget it. And, you know, and Angie told her, she said, oh, you could go, and everything you're telling me, you know, because, again, Angie was telling her the same thing she kind of told Nikki. You know, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay. All of these things you're telling me, you need to open up and tell your husband. Like, be open, be honest with him. Let him in, you know, let him in, you know. Open yourself up and let him in. And so little sister came through with she came through with some good advice. And so she leave, you know, she get out the car, she go home. So that's when she had the revelation that Nate need to be home with them or whatever. So Leah goes home, and so she goes home, and, you know, what's his name? Raymond comes into the room, and Leah's sitting there, and so he, you know, now it's we're about to have a heart-to-heart, wife to husband, husband to wife. We're about to have a heart-to-heart. And so, she told him, she said, I tried to help you, and once my father saw that that's what I was doing, he froze me out. I was trying to help you. And he was like, I just, basically Raymond was telling her, it's always been you and your dad, you and your father against the world. But it should be you and I against the world, because you're my wife, and you won't, it's like you won't take your place and have my back as my wife, because when it comes down to a fight, you choose him, you don't choose me. And so he said, all I'm asking you to do is take the handcuffs off and have my back. And so she said, the handcuffs are off, and I have your back. And he was like, well, okay, well, I'm going to go on and go. And so she said, why do you have to go? He said, well, you said you wanted time. You didn't want me to, you didn't want me to sleep here until, she said, who said anything about sleep? And pulled her little sexy robe off, honey. And he came over there to do what, married couples do. So Jack is at the room, right? I guess he's waiting on Leah. So a knock comes at the door, and he was like, come on in, I've been waiting for you. In walks Raymond. So now he's looking stupid. And so, so he's going back and forth or whatever, and he tells him, because now Raymond know he sold his shares to Teddy. It was like Jack's just playing games. He's playing games. And so he was like, well, since because basically he don't want to work. He had already told him, he was like, we're getting paid the same amount of money for less work. He don't want to work. Privileged. So he was like, okay, so well, you're not gonna get your company back, and since you're having all these issues or whatever, and since you don't know what to do with Leah, I've always thought Leah was a fox. What? Child, Raymond beat him until 1 inch of his life. Do you hear me? He beat him. And I was like, why would you tell this man that? Why would you do that? Why would you say that to him unless you wanted to provoke him? So I'm thinking, okay, well, by him saying that and you provoking him, you must have something up your sleeve, because he beat you. He didn't pimp slap you or whatever. He beat you, blood coming out nose and mouth, beat you. So was it worth it? No. Unless you provoked him for a reason. He might have provoked him for a reason. So anyway, Quincy goes to the quarters, the server's quarters, to talk to Simone. I think the girl's name is Simone, guys. I'm not for sure. I think it's Simone. And so he's talking to her, and he invited her to a party. And she was like, I thought the party was over. He was like, no, the after party. So she was getting ready to go, baby. The grandmother walked in and said, Quincy, you might can do whatever with all those other girls, but this one right here is still clear. Still clear. And she had work in the morning and shut the door. Yeah. Y'all know them old people, baby. They don't mix no words and play no games. She said, steer clear of this one. Okay. So, Lauren and... No. So, Angie calls Nate over, and she tells Nate, hey, I want a relationship. I want us to be a family, the three of us to be a family. And he was like, what? And she was like, I want us to be a family. And so he wouldn't understand it. And he said Nick is a kid. I mean, she said Nick is a kid, and I want her to remain a kid. But I'm sorry, before she turns 18, I want her to have a history of a family. You and I, a mom and dad, and her. I want that for her. And he said the only way this will work is you will have to allow me to be a dad. And I can get that. You know what, being a single mom, I can get what he was saying. Because sometimes, and I know my child's father, my kid's dad, both of them are the same. They have the same father. I know he can attest to, like, sometimes, we feel like the men are tough or whatever, or being tough, and so we kind of want to step in and be like, hey, well, whatever. So I get what Nate was saying. I get it. And I get it because I've been in that situation. And so he's saying the only way it would work is if you allow me to be her dad. Like, you can't, he didn't break it down, but I'm saying you can't step in, or whatever. I mean, if your place is mom and my place is dad, then don't bleed over her into my daddom. Like, I won't bleed over there into your momdom. So don't bleed over her into my daddom. Okay? I just made up a word, daddom, like kingdom, but daddom. Hey, y'all know what I'm saying. Don't bleed over her into my dad thing. I won't bleed over there into your mom thing. Okay? So I get it. Well, so they hug. Here comes Tariq all liquored up and stupid. And so he's popping off at the mouth. And, he goes, Nate been in prison, honey. You don't want to get whooped by this man who have all this pent up frustration, dude. You might want to go sit down. You might want to go sober up. He's popping out, flying, and just jump in the middle because Nate was going to dust him off and tear him up. Honey, he got 17 years of pent-up frustration. So he was going to unleash all of that on Tariq. And so he was like, well, maybe none of y'all is worth it. Well, you're right. Take your drunk self on out that door before you get handled right. And he already chocolate. He dark chocolate. So you couldn't even see a black eye unless the inside of it was red. So if Nate gave him a black eye, you wouldn't be able to tell unless he actually hit the eye so hard that this white part inside blooded up. You know what I'm saying? Since he was dark chocolate and all. But he won't talk all that trash. Man, go on out that door before it pops off. And Angie will not be able to hold Nate back. Okay? So, Lauren and Quincy are about to go to the club. So she jumps in the car. And Leah had left the little hotel card in the car. So Lauren calls the hotel card, asks for the room number. And he was like, Jack Holman or Jack whatever. And so now she's like, So I don't think that's going to go over too well. So I think it's some more drama about to pop off. Yeah, I think some more drama. Okay, guys, that is my review of Sisters. That is my review of Our Kind of People, Season 1, Episode 8, SisterVention. And I will talk to you guys later. Sean's Journey out.